not just physical, material prosperity, but spiritual prosperity. We're not talking about any other country but Venezuela, which has a huge potential, a glorious history with liberators not seen in any other continent, and a country also with a vocation for peace, work, producing, a vocation for happiness. That's the Venezuelan family. We are here gathered on this September 14th, Sunday, and the Bolivarian Armed Forces of the Bolivarian Republic. We are reviewing what we have done. We are reviewing critically every of our drills. That is part of our doctrine, critical analysis. And we have to be rigorous on that analysis. We need to put things in very plain terms and to point to weak points. And to boost all the positive things that we have done. In the last few drills, there is a lot more positive than negative. In each drill, we learn, we draw lessons, which forces us not to repeat mistakes and to optimize our efficacy in the territories. As you can see, I am accompanied by the Strategic General Commander and also by other members of the Chiefs of Staff who have been evaluating every single threat on those maps, internal and external. And I want to congratulate, there's no other way to say it, congratulate the Venezuelan people, led by President Nicolas Maduro, our Commander-in-Chief. He called the people to the garrisons to be trained. What a beautiful thing to see that people entering the garrisons. A journalist was asking me yesterday, what happens now that you have opened the doors of the garrisons to Venezuelan people? And I told her, you should recall this is not a new thing. Under Commander Chavez, when refounding the state of the Republic and the National Armed Forces, he broke those border lines between civilians and the military. He started blurring those lines. And I remember that plan which he started, the Bolivar 2000 plan. At the time I was a young officer and I was assigned at the Katia parish. And each weekend, after having done my chores at the garrison, maintenance, drills, moral discipline. On the weekends, I would go to Katia, the Katia parish, and we would do some social work with the people. And in the end, we'll finish the day eating soup with the people. So those lines were blurred since then. Clausewitz, he spoke of a trinitary war. On one side, the government, on the other side, the people, and on the other side, the army. The army is to passion, government is for politics and people is to reason. That trinity, as he called it, was marked by divisions, division lines. There was no integration between all of those elements. And we have blurred those division lines. So we have a trinity, not for war, but for peace, which is a popular military police fusion. That's our trinity. And I repeat, it's not for war, it's to preserve peace. All those border lines have been blurred. There are no difference between people, the armed forces, which is the people itself, and the political power. On this authentic revolutionary democracy that we are building, shortening the gaps between the people and the government. So thanks to this democracy we're building, we have gained in cohesion, popular military police cohesion, political, military, international cohesion. That's what we have been working on. Yesterday, we had a day for people coming into garrisons. People, not only the militia members who already have some military training, who know how to handle tanks and can assist the Navy as well, or militiamen who already have some military training, who have arms, who are in possession of arms. Moreover, we had combatants units, which will guarantee the continuity of production in the country. And they will be able to defend their factories, their industries with arms. 96 shooting range were active yesterday for people to train. Yesterday, not just combatants and militiamen, but reserve soldiers also went to those drills. All of them came yesterday, and they were very happy to participate in that session. And the testimonies of all militiamen, either trained or rookie militiamen, who came yesterday to familiarize themselves with arms and the handling of arms. People showed in their attitude, even their body language, that they were ready for combat, as it was a matter of, as if they had been hurt in their heart and their pride, as if they've been had insulted. And people of all ages responded in the same way, from young to old. We are training and forging this cohesion between the people and the armed forces. And I congratulate the Venezuelan people for the day we had yesterday. And it's not just in one direction, people, citizens coming into garrisons, but also the military people would assist citizens on any need, if they need protection from armed gangs, or in case of a natural disaster. So it's a bi-directional movement. People come into garrisons, and military people would assist civilian populations if necessary. And this is not just one day event. Now we have established Saturdays would be Saturdays for the militia, in conjunction with the Bolivarian Armed Forces. So from now on every Saturday, new people enrolling in the militias would be getting training. So what we are building is a great power, a great strength under the leadership of President Nicolás Maduro. A great strength for defending the homeland, which is everything for us, which has given us the land to grow crops, to have a family, that gives us work and happiness. We all derive that from the land and the homeland. So congratulations. And I have a message from President Maduro, also congratulating the people for the great mobilization we had yesterday. Lots of people, I can say, as a reference, not to mention any specific figures. Here in Tuna Fort, we had almost 5,000 people coming in to train at the firing range, beside other activities that were held in other garrisons. In all of the garrisons at the Tuna Fort, as well as in all garrisons throughout the country. What a day we had yesterday. Congratulations. I'm very, very proud and very happy and very enthusiastic, because we feel accompanied by the people of patriotism. We are building a huge collective to defend our homeland. Also, last Thursday, our commander-in-chief ordered an important deployment of forces on the Independence 200 operation for active resistance and for permanent offensive. Listen closely to the terms. Active resistance. We have been resisting for many years, but all that resistance has to be active, producing the economy. The Bolivarian forces need to be tuned up, as well as production fields, children going to school, young people attending universities. So active resistance. Diplomatic work as well in the international arena, active resistance, and permanent offensive. That is, an offensive means that we have the initiative. Initiative means we are at the offensive. So we need to have the initiative before the military aggression of the greatest power in the world, the more weird power based on its principles, which is the United States of America. So we are in a permanent offensive, and these drills are part of the routine of the armed forces, and we have reinforced these drills even more, given the new enrollments So we have carried out that operation, which was yesterday, and a critical review of all those things, the things that went right, the things that weren't so right. We have very little time to plan for that. However, we are very glad about the response of the people and the armed forces, and how quickly they were to move and deploy heavy anti-aircraft equipment and tanks and trucks on roads, highways, etc. Deploying rocket firing systems, all of the systems of the armed forces in short time and very effectively, without anyone getting hurt. No accidents were reported. Everything went perfect, and that says a lot about the capacity of the Bolivarian armed forces and their drills. Moving all of that machinery, that heavy equipment, which have been tuned up, and people know exactly what they should do. There are two main aspects for any plan. When one of those becomes a reality, then we talk about orders. So that's why we talk about plans and orders. Orders have to be executed. And this operation, Independence 200, which was a drill for resistance and offensive actions on the field in order to test and improve the combative capacity of the defensive territorial system at every level of command, from top to bottom, to the communals. And the objective was to see the coming together of all those levels of command. And for that, we chose 284. This is not the map. Now this is the map. 284 areas that we had selected. We have scouted all of the Venezuelan territory, not just for military targets, but also to defend strategic industries like electricity, oil, food production, areas that could be a problem in the logistical chain. So it's over 284 strategic points throughout the Venezuelan coasts. So moving to the other map. We had drills, we made drills, we carried on drills in areas of possible landing through the sea or the air. We also train in identifying troops approaching and objectives, identifying military targets beyond our borders from where we could be attacked. That's part of what we did yesterday. And we do not want as a nation to be slaves again. We have seen the light. A veil has been lifted. They want to turn us again into slaves. So this drill, which is very important, which not only took place on Thursday 12th, but it carried on to Friday and Saturday. And so we will be making a more profound review of all of those activities. And I want to share with you some reports from some of those territories. We have Javier Enrique Magallanes, commander in Zulia, in the Maracaibo Lake. In the binational zone number 1, from Zulia, a patrol boat of our armed forces in the framework of Independence 200 for permanent resistance and permanent offensive. I will give you a review of this week after having patrol, explore, and recognition missions through critical points in the territory. We activated a vigilance and control region with using monitoring systems to detect any air threat approaching. And we deployed equipment, short-range defense equipment, at strategic points in the territory. And we also rehearsed an ambush at the air base to prevent enemy impunity. We deployed the Joint Task Force CRAB, which is to patrol the shores and navigation channels with followed operational resorts. We seized 5 overboard motors and other equipment destined for drug trafficking, and we guaranteed maritime traffic security from the Venezuelan Gulf. We also rescued 54 citizens who suffer shipwreck due to meteorological adverse circumstances. We also found clothes and explosives at a camp belonged to an irregular armed group, and we destroyed all of that. On the airbase Urdaneta, we executed an integral defense plan, which means reinforcing access points to the airport and other important areas, like the beginning of the tarmac, the oil tanks, and communications room. We also had a drill on a highway that goes from Maracaibo to San Francisco. We set up a mobile defense in the perimeter to attack and maneuver, to position our forces. Venezuela is a peace territory, independence, freedom, or nothing. That's our slogan. Long live Chavez. Always loyal. We shall overcome. Thank you so much, to the Division General, who has expressed our truths. Freedom and peace, those are our noble objectives. All we want is to live in peace, to have our own political project, our own democracy model, our own development objectives. And we don't want to deviate or receive orders from anyone. This is a self-determination nation with a glorious past, with dignity from its origin. And the people that you see walking on the streets of Venezuela today, or in rural areas, those people what they have in their minds is a desire for peace, tranquility, zero delinquency, zero harassment by criminal gangs. They want freedom, to develop in freedom, to develop their own talents, capacities, to produce and be happy. That's what the Venezuelan people wants, freedom and peace. We could say also independence, a respect for our sovereignty. Respect to our sovereignty, because sovereignty is real. It's not just a made-up concept, it is real. And we are seeing sovereignty being overlooked with the use of power. So we've heard a report from the Division General from Zulia. And let's see what the General Ochoa is doing on the operational command, also in the binational area, Machiques, in Zulia State as well. Long live Chavez, my General-in-Chief. As part of the Independence 200 active resistance and permanent offensive in the binational area number 1, set up by our constitutional president recently, Commander-in-Chief, in the states of Zulia and Táchira, the armed forces of the Bolivarian Republic in perfect fusion, military and police fusion, have over 25,000 troops conducting military drills, operations against gangs who are trying to occupy geographical areas in our country for drug trafficking activities. We are at Machiques in the Zulia State, in the Perijá mountain range, which marks the border with Colombia. We have over 3,500 troops patrolling the area by land and the air. During these operations, we have kept communication with Colombian authorities. They working on their territory and we working from our territory. My general Through these 15 days of operations, our combatants have traveled along this mountain range over 20 kilometers at areas 200 or 300 meters above sea level, very close to the border. We found a coca plantation which was destroyed immediately. We also detected 2 improvised shelters used by Sancor groups from Colombia, where we impounded logistical supplies and other elements. Our Bolivarian forces will not allow our territory to be used as a platform for drug trafficking. In Venezuela, there's no one planting, producing, or consuming drugs, illicit drugs. Always loyal, we shall overcome. Salutations and congratulations to all those soldiers. I'm very glad to see the morale of the troops. As you were saying, General, we are our territory is free of drugs, of drug trafficking. And it's not something we say. There are sufficient sources, institutional sources, multilateral, international organizations from United Nations, and internal reports of the DEA, also intelligence reports of intelligence agencies in the United States that Venezuela is not a country with a predominant role in drug trafficking. It is not. Not even indirectly. We are sick and tired of divulging numbers, and almost 90% of the drugs are coming through the Pacific, and we wonder where is the deployment on the Pacific coast. As you said, our territory is free from drug plantations. Not even at the Perijá mountain range, where sometimes peasants might extend their cultivation land through the beyond the border between the 2 countries. And there is an operation undergoing to eradicate drug plantation 3 hectares on the border area, which will be eradicated. We could say they no longer exist. So we are surfing over a fake narrative built in PSYOPs labs from the U.S. government, so that over that lie, which no one believes, not even their own allies, not even themselves, and they built upon that lie a case, a military threat for a military intervention in Venezuela, and remove President Maduro on a regime change theory. For they are trying to remove our commander-in-chief, a president elected by the people. They want him out. And that won't happen here. It won't happen. So we have been increasing in good results. We have improved our achievements in the territory, and each of those actions, although they might seem little individually, all of that adds up for a great achievement. And when we start putting them together, we see the great effort made by the armed forces of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. And now we will listen to a report by Vice Admiral Lima on the Apure River in the Apure state. Long live Chavez, my General-in-Chief. Here from the Apure River, I report to you as part of the 200 independence operation for active resistance and permanent offensive, as ordered by our constitutional president, Nicolas Maduro. We are patrolling the river waters and scouting the area for enemy actions in the Apure jurisdiction between the rivers of Apure, Arauca, Sinaruco. So far, we have traveled through over 285 nautical miles. We have inspected a number of vessels and destroyed 7 logistical platforms for processing and trafficking drugs. In the Apure state, there is no one at present growing, dealing, trafficking with any drugs. We are guaranteeing the sovereignty of our homeland and securing tranquility for all the people in Apure. My general. Thank you very much, Admiral. I know the work in Apure. It's a huge area with rivers. It's a very complex area in a rain season, which makes moving around difficult, especially to the south. And therefore our action capacity. However, through our using drones, we've been able to locate those illegal tarmacs. We have been destroying illegal aircrafts, camping sites, to eliminate any possibility of any group, any drug trafficking group from Colombia who either cross the border or attempt to cross the border. We will not allow for any of that to happen. So, rounding up, I would like to hear from Division General Norbert Torres, commander of the 51st Brigade in Anzoátegui. Division General Norbert Torres, at a bunker with his chiefs of staff. Go ahead. Long live Chavez, from the 51st Operating Integral Zone. After reviewing our activities, we have divided our territory in 3 zones, north, central, and south, for integral defense. And we found 13 critical areas in our territory. And according to our appraisal, we found 5 extra points. Therefore, we have 18 difficult strategic points for our defense of our territory. We also patrol the waters and the land. We secured our refining industry in the east, as the Anzoátegui airport in the north and the Barrios airport in the south. And we were able to secure sub-power stations, water plants, gas plants to guarantee supply to our people. We also patrol the land in all of the municipalities of our state. We also secure the highway to the Orinoco oil refineries. We have had massive participation from the people. The commitment of our troops in securing strategic industries for the state and consolidating the government structure in the municipality and the communes. We continue in active resistance and permanent offensive. Thank you so much. Congratulations, and a very a warm salutation from all of us. And we were able to see very good imagery of all the work they have done in that area. A good plan minimizes errors. When we plan to the detail and everybody knows what to do, no one can stop them. Centralized planning, decentralized execution with strong leadership and knowledge and criteria. Congratulations to all of you. I want to say to the people of Venezuela, because we need to talk to you with the truth. In our territorial waters at the north of our territory, there have always been intelligence operations with aircraft from the United States. There have always been operations in the Caribbean. Sometimes they violate operational norms because they do not notify us their flight plan to prevent accidents in the Caribbean area that belongs to us, north of our islands and that coast. That has always happened, but now that happened during the day, but now they are doing that through the night and in the wee hours, and they have tripled intelligence operations against Venezuela. And in September, that happened in August, and in September now, on every single day, just last night, we had intelligence planes and tankers supplying oil on the air to those intelligence planes, which need a lot of fuel to keep on flying on reconnaissance flights. RS-135 airplanes, reconnaissance planes, strategic, designed to gather information in real time, up to 200 miles. So they reach into Venezuelan territory through intelligence and radars and cameras, sensors, advanced sensors, and they fly at a maximum speed of 951 kilometers per hour. Some other of the planes overflying this territory are tank airplanes supplying those reconnaissance planes. Other planes from the U.S. Army that overfly this area are AWAC, Alert Airborne Command Systems, which command several aircrafts. At the time, they have radars, long-range radars, capable of doing air reconnaissance, control, and communication. They have a reach of 7,000 kilometers at a maximum speed of 166 kilometers. Those are the kinds of aircrafts that we have detected and identified in our region. Also, we have Boeing T-8, Poseidon, a patrolling plane over seawater, specialized in reconnaissance and vigilance and attack on submarines, equipped with radars, electronic warfare equipment, search and sonar to search the bottom of the sea, intelligence airplanes, and we know all of that. Intelligence for what? Well, they should know. We are also carrying our own intelligence review, integrating all the reports that we are getting. And now we are interpreting that information, and that is what we call intelligence. So we have our assessment, and we are ready. For any flight that we know of happening, we have a specific course of action. So we know what they're doing. They know the deployment they have in the Caribbean waters, with all the intention of creating warfare in the Caribbean, something Venezuelans don't want. Peoples in the Caribbean don't want any war, same as for Central American peoples or Latin America. We don't want a war. We are a peace zone. As said in 2014 at the SLAC summit, an area free of atomic weapons. So we have seen that deployment, very provocative, which seems to be fishing for some incident so that we might fall under provocation and to escalate the conflict to a military conflict and therefore attack Venezuela, as they have been announcing for a month now, a military intervention which is the most dangerous action to take against any nation. On Friday, the Carmen Rosa tuna ship, which was at 48 nautical miles from northeast from Blanquilla, and at approximately 84 nautical miles from the Margarita Isle, And there you see the position of the PO-14 and the distance from the tuna ship. The red line defines the emission of electromagnetic waves from one military radar, which happened to be detected by the very fishermen. And the radar came from the destructor, U.S. destructor, which was in our exclusive economic zone, as denounced yesterday by our foreign minister yesterday. It was in our exclusive economic zone, carrying out operations without notifying the Venezuelan state, and they boarded the fishing boat. 18 men, heavily armed, with hostile action against those humble fishermen who were just doing their job, duly authorized. You can see in the images how they approach on those rafts, part of the troops of the U.S. destructor. They step on that tuna boat for a visit and search, and it carried out for 8 hours, something I had never seen before. Such a long, maybe that should have taken 2 hours tops. But for 8 hours, they interrupted the work of these fishermen, duly authorized by the Venezuelan state, which are part of the fisherman system that we have created. To bring fish to land. So that the crew of the Carmen Rosa boat detected the U.S. destroyer, and they could see them, as well as ships from Venezuela armed, the Navy. And the fishermen said that the U.S. soldiers came in very loud. They said that they were in communication with Caracas, which was a lie, because supposedly to make such a search, they need to notify Venezuelan authorities to respect treaties. They fooled those fishermen, saying that they had been in contact with Venezuelan authorities, and we're still waiting for that contact. So they violated all sea conventions, treaties signed with the U.S. regarding drug dealings in the sea. So this is a violation to international laws. This is a shameful situation. I keep on saying I don't understand. I think it'll be long before I get to understand this. How could a destroyer with a crew of 380 people approximately, which can throw missiles vertically, with cruise missiles, anti-aircraft missiles, with missiles anti-submarines, a very powerful destroyer to threaten those fishermen. I say to those fishermen, not just from Venezuela, Do not fall prey of fear. Venezuelan fishermen are protected by the Bolivarian government. You are protected by the President of the Bolivarian Republic, Nicolas Maduro, our Commander-in-Chief, and we will back you up so that you can carry your work duly authorized in our jurisdictional waters. We will protect you. The Navy will protect fishermen from Venezuela. But this saddens me. And again, I'm talking to the people of the United States. Is there any sense, mothers, relatives, does it make any sense to watch an unnecessary war being fabricated upon lies? Is it necessary to open a new front so that you, mothers, grandmothers, may again welcome black bags coming back home? Is it necessary? I say to the people in the U.S., it is important that the administration may answer those questions, and I'm very sure the U.S. people are asking those questions. I don't think taxpayers in the United States agree with paying such highly cost operations because deploying a destroyer is very expensive. The use of one missile is very expensive. Using just one missile to destroy one boat, such a warship. And to what end? To threaten humble fishermen? Combating what? That's what we ask ourselves. What, drug trafficking? Are they actually combating drug trafficking with a destroyer, Tomahawk cruise missiles, guided missiles? Is that how you're supposed to combat drug trafficking? I don't think so. In the end, what they're looking for is to attack a country, to provoke a regime change. This is not a war against drug trafficking. That's a farce. And I say to the soldiers as well, to the U.S. soldiers, men and women like we are, to U.S. soldiers, why do you allow yourselves to be used for such a shameful act? Don't you think that your military honor is not being served? Because we military men are moved by honor. Don't you think they are sending you to a sacrifice mission, to a senseless war for you, a war that does not belong to you? There's not a war yet, but if you provoke a war, it wouldn't make sense for the U.S. So we are urging for serenity to prevail to the people of Venezuela. Keep calm, because we have the National Bolivarian Armed Forces backing you, evaluating every single move of aircrafts, ships in our interest area, and doing our appraisals and reporting our Commander-in-Chief so that he can make good decisions. So we do not want any incidents, which is what they pretend to do. We don't want any incidents in our territorial waters. We won't fall for the trap of a provocation. We have reactive capacity, but we will not fall on a provocation, because that's what you want. That's what they want. They want us to make a mistake, to escalate the conflict. So to the people of Venezuela, all our love, and I will read to you a quote from Bolivar. During the Second Republic, in 1814, a terrible year, he said, "Where such hatred to Venezuela comes from? It's a holy origin, our sentiment of justice, reason, and our love for our homeland. Those are our crimes in the eyes of our enemies, justice, reason, and love for our homeland. They cannot conceive that we may be free, because in their blindness they only see the right for power and despotic government." 13th of April, 1814, signed by Simón Bolívar in Valencia. We will not go back to a submissive slave state. We will continue to the future, and we will defend this homeland with everything, with our heart, with our nails, with all our being, with our mind and our soul. Happy weekend, happy Sunday to all of you. A hug from the National Armed Forces. Long live Chavez. Always loyal. We shall overcome.
Well, we were listening to the interventions of the Defense Minister of Venezuela, Vladimir Padrino Lopez, who was making a brief summary of the successful operations that have been taking place within the framework of Operation Independence 200 that started on Thursday with the aim of protecting and preserving the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Bolivarian nation. He also made reference to the training day that was held Saturday in different points across the nation, where the enlisted Bolivarian National Militia went to different military bases and barracks that were designated for this training day to take part, and he praised the high participation of the people, referring that he was astonished to the amount of people that took part on these different actions. There was also a report from different generals from different integral defense zones reporting on the actions being carried out, which have had successful results in the prevention and the protection of the sovereignty of the nation. And the defense minister also referred to the U.S. Attack, the boarding of a fishing vessel in the Venezuelan exclusive economic zone. He made a reference to what happened there and condemned in the utmost manners the way that the U.S. soldiers behave in this destabilizing action. And he also reiterated the commitment of all the Venezuelan Bolivarian National Armed Forces and all the security forces to their commitment to continue to preserve and protect the sovereignty of the nation and guarantee the prosperity and well-being of the Venezuelan people. Stay tuned with TeleSUR English for more updates and upcoming news briefs.